Good afternoon. This is Beaty-Coffey, the Ministry of Uncover No More. And I'd like to speak to Gen X for a moment. In handling, like I always do, the multitude of blogs and personal details that I actually handle, you can get to a point where you just feel overwhelmed all the time. And particularly since we've entered a zone that is hard to navigate for large populations, and that zone is COVID-19. I was saying last night in an article, that blog article, YouTube, that pagan mantra is blessed be. And my dad taught this to me in the Christian world as well, and I appreciate this. In the Bible, it's rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, and in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God for you in Christ Jesus. And it was even in my books. But the thing is what nobody knew about me from my past life, and I do have a past life, and I literally have nobody left in the past life. Everybody is having to relearn their own lives individually as adults in my general construct of relationships. Because in this case, my life is, generally speaking, always cast as negative. That the changes are negative. And I have always demanded that all of our changes as we progress into and through adulthood be blessed be. And even this morning, having to ask someone, please, we just don't need this negative narrative anymore. And they respectfully quit. They are realizing, wait a minute, she was targeted, still is to a degree, and I just need to support her in the consequences of that are occurring in her life. And I appreciate that, finally being seen. I'm reading Mary Trump's newest book. I believe it's The Reckoning, and finished the introduction last night and have already had to begin a conversation with that whole narrative. And again, the general premise of Blessed Be is true. As it comes to praying, no comment. I've already explained my position on prayer a multitude of times. Because I just quoted the Bible, so I just evolved it. Apostle Paul wrote that over 2,000 years ago. So it's time to evolve it a little bit, because they were still dealing with things that we're actually still dealing with, but in a different way. So excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and start walking here into the store to get a few groceries. Anymore, I'm going to, because of the signs of the times, on uncovernomore.blog, which is my main blog, it has turned, according to the King's direction in my life, it has turned political. Again, I have other blogs for my agnostic development, my spiritual development as a pagan, so I have other blogs. I even have one blog that is primarily one poet's work, because he is so beautiful, so accurate, and so right on track. Book reviews is a blog, and again, I'm starting a whole another conversation and have pulled in Bernice King as well as Mary Trump and a few others, strong people that understand the concept of, oh, okay, kill the filibuster. Kara's saying it on her political Twitter and etc. Well, Martin Luther King Jr. was saying it when I was being born. Same thing, same message. Any poetry I pick up is like that, because poetry is prophetic and it's reality. It's both at the same time. Like a lot of the Bible that Christians are stuffing down everybody's perspective, expecting to not evolve, just stay in the dark ages basically. And Texas is particularly bad at that. So there's so many issues like that where it's so black and white anymore. It's not Technicolor. It's just like, you're not evolved, period. I need to walk off this. And how you're treating me because I am evolved is not acceptable in my world. That I tried to bring you into my world, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I did not fail. And I am not ashamed. And that's what this is going into a blog article where I've got a couple of Twitter accounts that I trust, a couple in a whole sphere of Twitter accounts that I trust. Today, calling it on some pretty serious issues. What happened with the women's Olympics and the doctor? Destroy women's gymnastics in the Olympic world. Just destroy it. You've lost any privilege. It's obvious that the young ladies should have had female doctors who are mothers. It's obvious that the males should have had the exact same fathers. Criminal is criminal. And there comes a point where you just don't want to lend any more energy, if you're me. You don't want to lend any more energy to what you already know is taking us, it's not taking us anywhere, it's keeping us in a controlled state that is horrific. It's criminal, okay? So I've decided to start just putting these blog articles together like this, because the other, I forget what the other one is. Well, the other issue, so the Olympics issue, I've got one account that I trust that was tweeting about, and also there's a podcast that the main announcer's name happens to be Kara, like me, except for it's spelled with a K. And so I've already done the artwork. I listened to a good bit of it at the library here in Pflugerville and did some artwork. So it will be going up pretty soon. But this is this new hodgepodge type article that's nothing of the sort. Again, these are all criminal situations because Instagram and Facebook are well aware of what their platforms are doing to teenage girls, just as much as the Olympics has been aware of its during the whole existence, at least since I have been alive, that you don't put a male in charge of 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old girls when it comes to their doctoring. The FBI had no excuses to hold on to that, but let's just get real. Facebook's main dude, knows way too much and does way too little. Therefore, he approves of pedophilia and all kinds of things, but just wants to look squeaky clean with all his money and power. So it's all going into the same article because it's the same thing. I'm going to ask normal Americans like myself, what are we going to be willing to give up to make them understand that wicked is wicked? And what you're doing is control of the basest and vilest sort. particularly since all mistakes and difficult things aside, the Constitution was written for all of us to be unified and to be free. So when I start having equally egregious situations, they're all going to go into the same article, and I'm going to start doing this. So let me mention the other one. California spent how many millions? Because they wanted to throw the election into question while children are being raped. Pedophilia is alive and well and producing a lot. And then there's Bernie Sanders and the Senate trying to pass legislation towards my heart and life song, which is universal health care. I want the filibuster killed, just like Martin Luther King Jr. back when I was born. And I'm going to start supporting unions, because not everybody is supposed to be an IT executive, or a Wall Street executive, or a lawyer. Some of us actually enjoy serving food all our lives, having a nice quiet life, paying our bills together. You can go ahead and laugh at us, but we are a hell of a lot smarter than executives of Facebook and Instagram. And we got kids. So we definitely had been saying something else, that you should have been doing something else if you'd have even asked. And that is the point the past 14 years. See, I was never asked about how I was treated. It was forced on me, and I'm still dealing with issues. Because nobody wants to go backwards and say, we forced this narrative on this person, and own their part of that shit. And I have solutions for that as I read Mary Trump's book. So if you want to check that out, as that blog article goes up on my book review website, help yourself listen to those talks, because I've already started to weave it together so tightly beautiful that, I'm done with American society. But on Cover No More, I'm going to just cover several issues at once, because this shit's obvious. Literally, I've been calling it and saying for years. Now I'm going to a different level of announcing this. The ones that I've earmarked this weekend is Instagram, Facebook, and the Olympics when it comes to pedophilia and rape of children. And stop spending that much money on doing something stupid like contesting voting. There's way more hills to die on than that. You're wicked. And what was the other one? You can tell I'm tired. I'm tired of you, America. You hate me. Blessed be.